Hello and welcome to our Redstone tutorial series in preparation of our mapmaking series. So today we are gonna look at clocks. So clocks are pretty simple, but I want to go into it deeper and into more complex clocks later on. For now, let's just look at simple ones, since we have already done timing. You'll understand that pretty quickly. So I first just will show you what a clock does, and you'll probably guess it right away. So let's see it. So what's happening here? Let's double it again. Right now the lever is set on, so it's powering that block, powering the torch. You see, that power isn't coming from the repeater like you would guess. It's coming from the block and traveling back, but can't pass the repeater. So for now the torch is turned off, and well, nothing really happens. But if we turn off the lever, the torch will go on, will power this redstone, which will power this repeater, which adds a 2-tick delay since it's on the first setting. So that's 0, that's the first setting, so 2 ticks delay, and that will power the block, which will turn off the torch. And it's pretty much the same thing as the pulsar I showed you with 2 torches last time, or it was just the 1 torch, but since it's not rapidly pulsing but with a delay, it's not gonna burn out. So what do we want to do with that? It's giving off pulses in regular pulses. So it's basically just giving a pulse every now 3 ticks here, because the torch adds 1 tick delay too. So yeah. So a similar contraption, but with a piston, is that here. So what do we have here? If we push that lever here, or pull, more likely pull that lever, it's gonna power that solid block. That solid block then gives power to the repeater, which adds a 2-tick delay and then pushes this piston out, lets it extend. So if the piston extends, the power line is disrupted, discontinued, and the repeater takes 2 ticks to depower again. And well, basically then the piston retracts again. So if we just try that, we'll have that. So what I wanted to show you was that too, if we don't have the power line in here, the piston won't extend, and that's a bit strange since the block in front of it's powered. But the repeater has to be powered from the sides or below. It's kind of a tricky thing, because it works from the top too. If the piston is just standing up like we had last time with this contraption, but that's due to the block being powered here. So in this case, it's not because of the solid block on top, but because of the block to the side that is being powered. So the pushing side of the piston isn't accounted here for the power. It's a bit strange, but otherwise all your contraptions like this would bug out, and well, we really rely on that. So next topic, repeaters again. Last time was repeaters here. That looks strange, doesn't it? We haven't seen that before. This is a locked repeater. A repeater is locked when it's on powered by another repeater from the side. It only works with the repeater, not with a redstone line. So we have power back here, but why? I mean, that's pretty strange. We don't have an input for the repeater. Basically, that repeater is locked in its state as long as it's power from the side. And what I've done here basically is I turned the signal on and then locked the repeater and turned the signal off again. And the repeater remains in its state as long as it's powered from the side. So if we take that power again, it will turn off again. Keep in mind, the delay still plays a role here, so we can still change it too. Okay, that's pretty much all for repeaters for now, and all the basic stuff repeaters can do. But I just wanted to show it at this point because it will play a role in building clocks later on too, and counters and stuff. So comparators. A very confusing setup here. Okay, what we have here are comparators as an input. Comparators... Oh, let me turn down the music here. Okay. So, comparators. Comparators are measuring how many blocks are, or not only blocks, how much percentage of the inventory of the block is filled up, and then translating that in a redstone current. So translating that in a redstone current, it does by giving it a certain power for each space that is filled. That sounds a bit strange, and it's confusing because there are exactly the same amount of blocks in each of those inventories here, but they give a different power output for their specific place that is taken. So what I mean with that is that in this chest 64 blocks only take a small percentage of the space at all of the inventory. So in comparison to its full inventory, it's just about 1/15 of the output, because the maximum output of the comparator, like this every block here, is 15. So 100% full inventory would be an output of 15. So we have really much space left, so that equals a power level of 1 for this inventory. We have the same amount of items here, but the hopper only has 5 slots. So that would be a power level of 3 here. We have the same amount of items here redstone, because I couldn't put the clay in. But you see, the brewing stand has 1 less inventory place than the hopper, and so the power is stronger here, because the 64 redstone dusts items are filling up more of the inventory space in comparison to the hopper. Comparison to the 64 clay blocks in the hopper. So for the furnace we only have 3 spots, so 1 less even. And as you see, the clay blocks fill up even more of the space of the space in the inventory. So the only strange thing here is, which is really useful, is those power steps are going up in equal steps for every percentage of the inventory. So it's not going to change exponential or something, but only the first power level is the difference, because normally you would expect you would need to have 1/15. You need to fill 1/15 of the inventory space to get the power level of 1. Since we have 15 power levels and it's divided by 15 to get the power level that is wanted. But the problem here is that they changed that behavior, and you get a power level of 1 if you just put one item in here. So you see here, it's already lighting up. But the second power level would only come if you fill 2/15, and the third if you fill 3/15. And that sounds very confusing at first, but you have to struggle around there a bit, and it's easiest if you just calculate it yourself or look it up on the Minecraft wiki, since it's just fiddling around. So most of the time you have to test around with that stuff. The important thing is that it's dependent on the maximum space available, not on the total amount of blocks in there. So what is strange too, it's about the stacks being filled. So 64 items as one slot here and will equal 3 power levels, because that's pretty easy to calculate. We have 4 slots here in total, and we have 15 power levels, and 15 divided by 5 are 3 power levels per slot. So, but you'll see, if I put an item in that can't be stacked, like a chestplate, let's take a giant chestplate here, we will get 6 power levels. And that's because another place is totally filled, because the diamond chestplate can't be stacked up. So unstackable items count as one full stack of 64 items. The same with items that can only be stacked up to 16, like snowballs and ender pearls. If you put 16 snowballs in there, that would be equal to 64 clay blocks or 1 chest piece or item that can only be stacked up to 1 stack size, so stack size of 1. So that can be used, of course, because you can manipulate stack sizes and output of the comparators to your will, if you know and use that. And you will need much less, if you want to have a specific output, you will need much less snowballs than you would need clay blocks to get the same result, for example. So, like I said, it's a bit of fiddling around, but it's very useful indeed. Okay, comparators have some more uses here. So first off, comparators not only are useful as input. You see, we have the same example as back there. One chest with a stack of 64 clay blocks equals an output of 1. And what we can do with a comparator too is not only use as input, but use similarly to a repeater and repeat the signal. But the repeater will always set the signal strings back to 15. While the comparator, adding 1 tick delay too, but you can't alter the delay the comparator gives. The comparator will repeat the signal as it is. So we have a power level of 1 here, and put a repeater in front of a comparator in front of it, and the comparator will output strength of 1 again. So you see the signal strength is 0, 1 block further, so we can prove with that that's a signal strength of 1. So you see we had 1 here, and next block is 0, of course, and we have 1 as input here and 1 as output. We can use similar strategies with the comparators as we have with the repeater. So we have a comparator with an output of 1, powering a block, which is powering a comparator, which is powering a block again, which powers the redstone here, but only with the signal strength of 1, and the next block powered would be 0 again, because it doesn't set the power back to 15. So that doesn't seem useful in the first moment, but what you can do is pretty much build, for example, a hexadecimal decoder, because you have 16 power states of redstone, 1 being 0 and then 1 to 15. So just an example for that. So that seems pretty complicated at first, but if you have just one redstone line and want to send really much information through that one redstone line, and don't want to have 16 redstone lines next to each other, then that's the way to go, basically. There are other ways to use the system, but Comparators really do an easy job there if you don't care about the delay. If you care about the delay, there are other ways to do that, but well, it would take much more space than a comparator does. So the comparator has another function in its main state. It is to compare redstone inputs. So that's a thing I don't use very much, but if you have redstone wired next to a comparator, it will attach to it, and if you power that comparator from the side, it will compare the inputs. It will compare the input from behind to the ones from the side. You can do that on both sides, and if the input from behind is higher, it will output the input. It will output that again, so it would output 1. But if the input from the side is higher than the input from behind, then it will output nothing. So that's it for that. The repeater has a second state. So you see, we're having an input here from the side to the repeater, and both hoppers here are filled the same, and normally it would put out output of 3 because it's exactly 1/5 full, and it should do the same here, but we changed the state of the repeater. So you can see the repeater has a second state. That's when the light in the front lights up to. The lights in the back indicate there's power coming out, not power coming in. So if we turn off that signal at all, if we just do the same as we have here. Oh no, am I right? Yes, yeah. It says power coming out, not power coming in, which is really strange, because you would expect the lights in the back indicating an input, not an output. But don't ask me what they thought there. But basically, in this second state, which is indicated by the power, the lamp in the front glowing, this and that, this indicates that the subtraction mode is on. When the subtraction mode is on, that means that any input from the side will be subtracted from the input from behind. So we had an input of 3 here, and we have an input from 3 here behind because it's 1/5 full again, but we could just use 1 in there. Oh no, I wanted to show 26, I guess. Because I wanted to subtract 2 power. So basically I just showed what I wanted to show. The input power is still 3, but it's it gets 1 subtracted from this input here, and if this input has a power level of 2, that's 3 minus 2 from there. If we put on more items, we subtract even more, and now power is coming out because it's 3 minus 3. That's useful for various things. For example, you want to limit the length of a line, so you want to have the power coming only up to here, and only if this hopper is getting more full, if it's getting filled up, the power should go further. So if we just do that for now, in this state we would have a power output of 0, and we are waiting until the hopper is filled up. So we are putting some more items in, and you see the line gets longer again, even with 3 from the side subtracted. We can use that too, and use the mechanic that repeater set the power again to 15 for this example. Basically, this comparator here powers the block, which is powering the redstone wire, which is going to the repeater with a 1 tick delay, which is set back to a power level of 15 if there's any input. And this power level of 15 goes into the comparator with the subtraction mode. So we know there can't be a power level above 15, so it's basically doesn't matter which input we have here, is instantly retracted to not retracted, but instantly equal to 0, since no matter if there's power level of 13 here, it would be 13 minus 15. If we have a power level of 15 here, like with this lever, we would have 15 minus 15, and so on and so on. And of course that would be followed by this redstone going out again, this repeater not getting powered, and this comparator being in its normal state and giving out the input again. And then we have a clock like we had before, so that looks like that. So what's really confusing is that if you put the repeater in subtraction mode, all the torches light up no matter what the input is. So yeah, well, thanks to Jeb and Dinnerboom, because that's confusing as hell to explain, because it doesn't really make sense. Whoops. So, oh no, it's stuck in that state. So if we put it on, okay, it's just stuck. Okay, we found a bug. Yeah. Sorry for that turning around. Okay, that's it for today. Next time we'll go into hoppers and droppers and dispensers, and then it's going to get really interesting, because we can start with spawners and comment blocks then, because we have the most basic stuff done. We'll do some logic gates and stuff too, but we want to get to the easy stuff first, and you can do really a lot with just using comment blocks. And I ignored the rain totally this time, sorry for that. You should have toggled it. Okay, tell me if you liked it, and I'll see you next time, I guess. I hope so. Bye!